they're the beneficiaries of a lot of guys that Alabama and Auburn don't offer.
Yeah, that's right. Mississippi State already up 7-0, and looking for more there against South Alabama. Oklahoma has gone down and scored again. They've got a field goal now. It's 10-3 over Houston. This was a game that I was looking forward to watching, Luke, to see how this Oklahoma team would rebound and see how this Houston team would handle the primetime lights, because they were the hottest team in college football last year coming down the stretch. It's about what I'm expecting right now. Houston did take their opening possession and go down and get 3. So this game could be a shootout here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this one. I'm trying to mix in some of the Mississippi State games just because I'm more SEC-centric. But this Oklahoma game is going to be intriguing. Baker Mayfield looks sharp already. And then, of course, last night, Christian McCaffrey started out pretty well. Again, his stats today, I think, are a little misleading because he did not have the best game. I mean, his stats make it look that way, but for most of the contest, Kansas State had him bottled up. His best play far and away was a punt return, which was called back. But Kansas State did a good job, and then just late. I mean, when you keep giving him the ball enough, eventually a talented kid like him is going to make something happen.
That's right. Georgia Tech wins in Ireland this morning. That game's already over, 17-14 over Boston College. Boston College, man, you just start to feel sorry at some point in time for teams that, they didn't win a single basketball conference game last year. They didn't win a single conference game in football. Looked like they were going to get off the snide against Georgia Tech, but couldn't get off the field on a 4th down and 19. Georgia Tech ends up moving the ball down and scoring with less than a minute, 35 seconds to go, and beats them 17-14. Just sometimes you just start to believe that you can't ever win again.
Got to be happy for Prattville alum Justin Thomas, though, and really very little to be happy about if you're a Prattville alum today.
That's exactly right.
Enterprise last night.
Man, I was shocked about that score.
I don't want to veer away from college football. I mean, I could sit here and talk about it for hours, you know that, but that Prattville Enterprise score was as surprising to me as any score that I've seen since I've been doing this AHSA scoreboard show. 50-0 to start the third quarter, and then they just Enterprise called the dogs off. I don't know that I've ever heard of that happening in Prattville.
I don't either. We just talked about that 2 segments before you got on the air with us. We are really dumbfounded about the situation at Prattville, but Justin Thomas did show out for them today, so I know the Prattville fan base excited for that. But man, they do have some stuff to work out. I never thought I'd see the day either where they were down 50-0 going into the 4th quarter, but it just tremendous issue there for Prattville. Tonight, Auburn Clemson, Luke, we've talked about this one. We'll wrap up with that. Deshaun Watson comes in as one of the better football players in the country, the leading odds-on favorite for the Heisman Trophy, right there with Leonard Fournette right behind him and Christian McCaffrey there as well. Just your thoughts real quick on how this game plays out.
You know, Brett, I picked Auburn to finish 3rd in the West before Javon Robinson left the team, and I just don't know. This game, my point being that I think Auburn is going to be better than a lot of people are predicting them to be, but I don't think it starts tonight. When you look at Clemson and Auburn, try to think of a player for Auburn. Who's the best player on that team that's proven? I mean, I think everybody's enamored with Carl Lawson's potential, but the best player that I came up with that's proven is Carlton Davis. I think that's the one player that you can really rely on. I mean, I'm talking about injuries and performance overall. Alex Kozan's been hurt. Nobody really knows what you're going to get out of Sean White. He only had 1 touchdown last year. I mean, the running backs, they seem rather pedestrian, pardon the pun, by Auburn standards. So I don't know where Auburn's going to be able to score enough, even against a Clemson defense that's lost a lot. And I feel very, very confident that Deshaun Watson and his receivers, who are 5 or 6 deep, I mean, they've got maybe the best group of receivers in the country. They are going to put up points. And Deshaun Watson's escapability is another key. If he were more of a statuesque quarterback, I would like Auburn's chances, because even though, again, they're not completely proven, I like Auburn's defensive front. That front 4, I think they can be very, very strong. But against Deshaun Watson. I just saw him be so elusive last year in that national championship game against Tim Williams, Jonathan Allen, and those people. So I feel like he's going to continue that, and Clemson may very well be right back in the playoffs.
Yeah, it makes you nervous if you're an Auburn fan to know that he did what he did last year against that great defense for Alabama, and the way he was able to move around and still get away from the likes of Tim Williams and that group up front. A lot to prove. And I feel the same way as an Auburn fan, as you just mentioned. I know everybody listens goes, well, that's Alabama. That's Luke's take. But I think Auburn's running backs are very pedestrian. I do. I'm not just overly excited about anybody in the backfield. They've got to prove themselves. They'll have that opportunity tonight and this year. And I think their potential's there, but it's just nothing that makes me just go, oh, man, I'm excited to see him run. But hopefully after tonight I'll have a change in opinion. Luke, thanks so much for being on the program, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Stay tuned. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's right after this.
Yeah, we're clear. Y'all are live. Take it when you want it.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. By 20 minutes left here on the program as we're live on location at JR Sports Bar and Grill, as we are each and every Saturday from 10 to 12. Make sure to call on them during this time of year. Great catering services if you're wanting to take some food to your house, or if you're wanting them to deliver it out there to you, but also tailgating. 256-329-2328 is the phone number here at JR Sports Bar and Grill. If you got kids participating in athletics throughout the year, you can bring them out in uniform at any point in time. That's a great special. Bring your kids in for $3.99 special here at JR Sports Bar and Grill. Brett, y'all talked a lot more about Alabama there. I think that we'll talk a little bit more about Auburn. You went on ahead and threw a little comment in there that worries me a little bit. You're not overly impressed at this point with the running back play that Auburn's going to start with.
Well, it's not that I'm not impressed. It's that I haven't seen anything to get real excited about yet. I mean, I think Kerryon Johnson, and I'm interested to see all this hype around Cameron Petway. I'm ready to see how that plays out tonight. I think he's going to get a lot of totes back there. But Auburn's going to have to find a way to score some points because, as Luke mentioned, Clemson's got one of the best receiving corps in the country. I think we potentially could have that in a year or two with all the young talent we've got and what we've built up. So, I mean, and I expect some of these guys to show out tonight, maybe make some big plays for us in the receiving game. But this Deshaun Watson, the thing that I carry, you can only carry over what you've seen, and I carry over what Deshaun Watson did against an unbelievably talented front for Alabama with Tim Williams and Ashawn Robinson and those guys, and his ability to get away from that. And Auburn's going to have to match that. And I still saw how many points he put up on a great defense. So it's a new year. That was last year. This is this year. They lost a lot on defense. It's going to be a scoring battle. If Auburn's going to win, they're going to have to keep up with them in the points. And that's the thing. Got to be able to run the football. Now, with losing Javon Robinson, no, we don't have that dynamic guy that you were looking to come back and that was going to run for 1,300 yards possibly. Can some of those guys we have do that? Yeah, they sure can. But it's just not the hype surrounding them. So I'm ready to get it kicked off and see what we got.
What's the best-case scenario offensively for Auburn tonight with Sean White back there at quarterback? What do you think Auburn needs to do to pull out the victory?
Receivers going to have to catch the football. We're going to have to run, but we're going to throw the football some tonight. And some of these guys, a Marcus Davis, a young kid like an Eli Stove, some of these guys are going to have to step up and make plays. And because Clemson is susceptible in the secondary. They do have some weak spots. They lost 6 guys on the defensive side of the ball, and one of their starters that was coming in to take Shaq Thompson's place at defensive end broke his foot a few weeks ago. So they are a little bit weak up front, weaker than people thought they were going to be. So that's the story. Auburn's going to have to move the football and have to score some points, and I think they're going to have to do it through the air, Randy, more than they are running the ball, because everybody knows Auburn's a running team and they like to run that read, and Clemson's going to key on that. That's the first thing they're going to try to do is stop it. So I think it's going to leave man coverage on the corners. We're going to have to make some plays.
Getting any decent feel, Brett, for defensive line play, newcomers on the defensive side of the ball, a playmaker on that side of the ball that you think would jump out. We've been talking Carl Lawson since he arrived on the Plains. This is his 4th year. You and I looked at the stats yesterday, 37 tackles since he arrived at Auburn 4 years ago. Now, he didn't miss a complete season, but that's in 21 games, 37 tackles. Yeah. So
hasn't been very good statistic-wise.
About less than 2 tackles per game since he's been able to be there. So I know that he's fought injuries, but it is time that if you're going to produce, the time is now. If he doesn't, still seems like there's some really top-end talent there, and somebody's got to jump out. Now, do you have to have a Nick Fairley type of year? No, but production on defensive line, when you're really good, it comes. Nick Fairley was that way. You and I looked up some old stats from some ex-players, not only for Auburn but for Alabama, and you see the production that you get there. It's a must to have that for Auburn, because tackles for loss last year are one of the scariest stats that you can look. Auburn had 54 tackles for loss the entire season last year. I think it was bottom in the SEC. Vice versa, when you look over at Clemson, I think they had around 140 tackles for the loss on the season. That's going to be a big number to look at tonight.
You think about some of the stats you bring up. It's a wonder if we won 7 games. I mean, you think about it. I mean, only that many plays for loss on a defense. You think about how anemic our offense was, and we were still in most every game. That's the head-scratching thing. We didn't play very good at all. So, I mean, from an expectation standpoint of getting better, I mean, how could it not defensively? How could you not come back with the depth on the defensive front, even though some of it's young, the depth on the defensive front, you can't get some pressure. I think our linebackers are going to be better. Looking forward to seeing how they play. I think Auburn could be really good in the secondary with Rudy Ford and Carlton Davis and some of those guys, Trey Matthews. Those guys have a lot of experience. Rudy Ford's our leading tackler. I hope he's not this year. If he's our leading tackler this year, meaning we're in the same boat we've been in. Those linebackers, those defensive linemen are going to have to step up and make more plays. I'm excited to see a newcomer in Derek Brown. I was excited to see Byron Coward. Obviously, that didn't work out. But he can come back this year and make amends. Hopefully he will. But Derek Brown's a lot of hype around him. There's been a lot of praise in practice for him. Marlon Davidson going to get a start today at defensive end. That says a lot.
What does it say?
Well, I mean, with all this talent, I think that, man, he's stepped up. He's a good, talented player.
Does it also talk about the players that are returning though as well, Brett? I'm going back to these stats. I've heard it. I've preached it.
It
as
could.
Much as anyone.
It could. It very well could. I'm leaving everything on the table. I'm not saying no, this guy is better and he's shown and all this kind of stuff. I'm not getting into that anymore. I'm with you. Show it on the field. I do give Carl Lawson a little bit of a pass because he has battled injuries, and when he's on the field, he looks dynamic. He just doesn't stay out there very long. So you gotta show some continuity and some depth about you to be able to stay healthy and to be reliable. I know what I saw in the Alabama-Mississippi game between me and Luke and Michael when we went over to Southern Miss and called that game. Marlon Davidson stood out on the field defensively for Alabama. He wreaked havoc against Mississippi. We're going to need that. I'm excited obviously, as a coaching staff, you're going to play your best players. And obviously they feel Marlon Davidson's one of the best 11 on defense right now.
Got a little rain out there, probably not much weather to be expected tonight, but looking forward to it as you and I will be heading over to Jordan-Hare. And I tell you, if Luke's got a kind of a special moment coming up here shortly, but nonetheless, he will be checking out Alabama closely, and Alabama has played extremely well over there in Jerry's house.
They play more there than Dallas does.
I expect to see much of the same tonight, even sitting up here as two Auburn fans. We know what Alabama has, and we've been able to watch what they're able to do offensively, even when you think they've got some question marks. So we'll talk a little bit more about that on the final segment, give our predictions on both of these games, and get you set up. Our prediction here for Sports Blitz, though, this week is Alabama and USC. Tiebreaker will be Cooper Bateman passing yards. You can find us on our social media outlets. You can call in with that one as well. Love to hear from you. Just
a quick update on an SEC score. West Virginia taking it to Missouri in the first quarter. It's 10-0 already. Missouri, man, they look about as bad. The SEC East looks horrible. Between Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and now Missouri, man, and Tennessee, my goodness, who's over there?
256-234-6464. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Y'all were clear.